Hello everyone, my name is OG and I'm a specialist with Service Delivery Department. Today I'm going to show us how to navigate through Vision. First, you start by logging in with your Securitas One ID. And you would typically enter your One ID username and then your password and hit sign in. And you would be required to authenticate your credentials by answering the security question that you have made for your Securitas One ID account. So go ahead and verify. Once you're successfully logged in, you will land on the live dashboard view. Underneath that, you would have the activity feed showing you activities from all of the sites that you are assigned to. Underneath the activity feed, you have the all events tab. Here you would filter and sort your view. So if you want to just highlight only reports, you can just select reports and it would filter and just show you only reports. You can do the same for each one of these items here. And next to that, you're going to see officers that are assigned and to the respective sites that you're assigned to. Here, it's this snapshot here is just letting you know which officers are logged into Vision and which platform that they are logged into. So if they are logged into the device, you're going to see the device icon here. And there is also a keyboard icon, which I don't have any person with the keyboard icon here, but just to explain that the keyboard icon is just indicating that the person is logged into Vision on the PC. The clock icon is just indicating that the officers are logged in and clocked into Vision. There is also a clocked icon with the color red. That is just indicating that the person is logged into Vision, but they are not clocked in. So logging in and clocking in are different things inside of Vision. So in Vision, you log into the system, but to clock in means that you want to start your shift. So once you clock in, the clock icon is going to switch to red. So I'm going to clock this officer out just to show us how that works. Uh, okay. So now this officer, I have clocked him in. So I'm just going to refresh my view. Rather, I've clocked this officer out. Pardon me. So now that I've clocked this officer out, but they're logged in, they are still showing in the system, but now the clock icon has switched from green to red, just showing us that this officer is logged into Vision, but they're not clocked in. All right, to get into site specific, if you hover over on site, you're going to see a list of items here. Go ahead and select site access. This would bring you to the view where you would see all the sites that you are assigned to. You do have this filter button just to help and enable you search for sites specifically. But for the purpose of this training, I'm going to go into our ABC Co East site. So I'm going to hit the view site. Remember, I mentioned that you can be logged into Vision without clocking in. So if you want to typically see what is going on in the site, you can just click on view site. If you want to start your shift, assuming I'm an officer at the site and I want to start my shift, I will just go ahead and hit the clock in. All right, so I'm going to hit the view site. And this is just asking to validate if you want to go into the site. So go ahead and hit save. If I hit cancel, it would take me out and bring me back to this view. But if I wanted to go into the site specifically, I'll just go ahead and hit save. And now I am at the site level and I can easily verify that because I can see the site name here, ABC Co East, and then the address. Notice also that I do have live dashboard. and then live feed with all events filter button. Again, this is just showing us activities going on at the site level. So now I'm seeing all the activities at this specific site that I am viewing. I can use the all events like I did show us to select specific events that I am interested in. And then, of course, there is also the calendar button here that allows you to expand or adjust your search accordingly. You can use any of this pre-made uh, line of items here, or you can also customize your search by going into the custom range and adjusting your calendar accordingly and then hit apply. Next to the live feed is the scheduled tours. This is where you would come as a security manager to view any scheduled tour at your site. Here you have different colors. The red indicates that this particular tours are past due. The blue color indicates upcoming tours. If we had any tours currently being performed, they would be shown in green. Next to the scheduled tours would be your site contacts. This is where you come to view site contact information of people at your site. And you can also create any site contact user. So to create a user under the site contacts, go ahead and hit create contacts. We're just going to provide basic information of the user, usually their first name, and then their last name, their job title, a phone number, an email, and then you're going to hit save. If you wanted notifications to be sent to this user via SMS, you would have to select this box here that highlights the user agrees to receive account notifications by SMS. If you don't check this, then the user will not be notified via SMS. They will only get notifications via email. Two things get pulled from the site contacts. One of them is emergency contact information. So when you want to set up emergency contacts for your officers at the site, this is where you would get that information from. And then if you also want to set up notification rule so that incidents and reports can go to a set of users, this is where you pull the end users from. And next to site contacts is where you would find recordings. Vision has, the Vision device has an application called the watch mode. This acts like a body cam where officers can record events at the site discreetly. And once they hit the record button on the device, the video would be exported to the system, to the platform where you, as a security manager, can come here and view the video. You can either download or directly watch the video on the platform. Assigned employees. This is where you would come as a security manager to assign any user to your site. So when you want to assign a specific user to the site, go ahead and hit assign button. And then under the select employee, you can start typing their name or their Oracle ID. Once it appears here, you can select them and then hit save. If you wanted to remove a user, maybe they no longer work at the site and they no longer need to have access to the site in Vision, you can just go ahead and select remove option on against their name, and then you would have this information. Just go ahead and hit save and it will remove it. You can also adjust the effective date to be now or in the future. So if their last day is say next week and you want to schedule the access to be removed next week, you can adjust the date accordingly and then hit save. Let's look at operation reports. So this is where you would come to see operation reports at your site. Underneath the operation report, you have the log and activities. Under that, you have reports. If you select reports, this will show you any kind of reports that have been entered at the site, activity log, incident reports, tour exception reports, uniform inspection checklist, manager supervisor site post inspection form. These are all different kinds of reports, operational reports you would find in Vision. You can simply click on view right here to view the report. You can also click on print PDF to show the same report in a PDF format. And you can download this report. You can save this report. You can print it. And if I click back to the main view window, it will take me back to the report window. And I can do the same for any of these reports. Next to the view icon is the email report tab. You can send this report as an email to any user. So if you click into the email report, it will bring you here. You do have the established site contact users. I mean, this will be the information of the people that you've already entered in the site contacts at the site level. But if you want to send this to a unique user, you can just come over here and then put down their email in here, and you hit send, and this report would be sent as a PDF attachment to the user. Underneath the report, you would find patrol tours. This is where you would see all the patrol reports at the site. So these are the different patrol tours at the site. So if you click view tour session, it will show you a report of the tour. It will start by providing the tour name. In this case, this is facility tour. It will tell you the start time of the tour and the end time of the tour, and then of course the duration of the tour. Further down, you're going to see the checkpoints assigned to these tours. And of course, you would see the time that each of this checkpoint was scanned. And if any checkpoint was missed, it will also show up on this report, and you will see the percentage as well. Underneath that will be where you will find the tour details. So any additional information that is associated with the tour would be shown here. For instance, if any questions were embedded in the checkpoint so that officers are prompted to respond to specific security questions, those questions would be shown here, and the answers that the officers provided would also be shown here. You can always click on the print PDF to view this same report on the PDF, and then download and save and print and share with other users. Again, if I click back to main window, it will take me back to the last window where I was when I got over there. Just like the other reports, you can always email this report individually to a set of users, and all of you can save, you can download, like I mentioned. And then you have the summary by shift. So in Vision, when officers log in and clock in, they start their shift. Throughout their shift, whatever they do inside of Vision is captured, and at the end of their shift, when they clock out, a report is generated. That report is called a summary by shift. This is where you would see the activities of all the officers. So whatever they performed, whatever they did, if they wrote an incident report, if they performed any specific tours or site tasks, they would show up here under the summary by shift report. You can view this report by clicking view to see the details of the report. You can click on print PDF to view the same report in PDF format, download, save, and print. If you click on back to main window, it will take you back to the report window where we left off at. And under this action tab, you can send this report as an email to a specific user or group of users. You can also download directly from here in PDF format. Underneath the summary by shift, you have the incident analytics. So Vision, in addition to being able to create incident reports or TOR exception reports, would also break down the report and create insight using the data that have been captured while officers perform their tours and using the operational reports. So it breaks down the operational reports into insight, and you can definitely download this insight report. You can adjust your view. For instance, it's showing us incident category over year versus month. So if you want to switch this to show specific location at the site where these incidents are occurring, and you can always hit print to view this report in PDF format. This is what the PDF format would look like. And you can download this report, or you can send it to the printer and print. This is where you will find analytics report. If you click into analytics report, it will show you any trend at the site. Again, just like we did with the other reports, you can hit print PDF and adjust this table accordingly to include all the kinds of trend you want to see. So if I click on this, I can move this individually and select specific items that I want to include on the report, or I can move all the items and then hit save and then hit download. And it will download the report in PDF format. And this is the trend analytics of the reports, operational reports in Vision. Notice that you do have a calendar here that allows you to also adjust your reports, so if you're looking to show 30 days worth of reports, 60 days worth of reports, you can come here and adjust your search accordingly and then go ahead and utilize the report as you would love to. This is where you would find also analytics for the site task. Here it's just showing you the site task analytics, a breakdown of the site task at the site, including showing you tasks that are completed, any tasks that are missed, and then of course employees who are performing this task as well. And so this just gives you that ability to stay in control of your site. Underneath that, you would find the post orders. This is where you would come to view any post orders at the site. If you click on view against any one of these post orders, you can view the post order, but also you can see who has read and acknowledged the post order. So right here, I can see that this user has read and acknowledged this particular post order at this time. And I can tell that these other users have not read the post orders, and they have not acknowledged the post orders. So if I click on back to main window, it will take me back to the last window that I was at. And then let's go to notifications. This is where you would come to create notification rule at your site. So if you want a set of users to receive reports of these operational reports, once they are generated, you can go ahead and create a rule for that so that the system automatically would send the reports to those users. So to create a notification rule, it's super easy. Go ahead and click new notification rule. Start by naming the rule how you would want it to be represented. So if you want this to be a notification rule for, say, incident reports, so you can go ahead and call this report IR. And underneath the rule name is notification trigger. This is basically allowing you to adjust the notification trigger. Say you want this report to be sent upon completion or upon creation rather. That means that you want this notification to go out as soon as the report is created. If you want to adjust this, you have options. You can click into the drop down to see the options that you have. You can adjust this to say, I want this notification to go out only after it's been reviewed and edited. So you can select on report editing. And then you do have the on report approval. This on report approval is similar to the same behavior, is the same behavior as on report creation. Why? Because vision reports are approved automatically once they are created. So once you select on report approval is the same as on report creation. Just putting it out there. So after you've selected the appropriate notification rule, what you want to do, you can allow this to be on use systems default, or you can also customize it, but we recommend that you just leave it as use system default. After you've adjusted this to meet with your expectations, go ahead and hit save. Now you will be required to select the report templates that you want to include on this notification rule. So since we're going with the incident reports, I'm just going to select incident report template. So any report that is generated using the incident report template would be included in this notification rule. And then next is to set up who you want to receive, who you want the reports to go to automatically. And this is where you rely on the site contact users under the site contact feature. So now I'm going to select a specific user. So if I click on the plus button to expand to show me all the site contacts at my site, and then I can go ahead and select a specific user for the notification. So I can just, for the purpose of this training, select John. And then I am going to hit X and the notification rule is set up. I can always adjust this notification rule in the future to include other users. And if I wanted to do that, I can just go to filter and recipient and then adjust my site contacts accordingly. I can easily delete this report if it's no longer a notification, if it's no longer required. I'll just come over here and select X and delete the notification rule if it's no longer required. That's how you set up notification rule for incident reports. The other kind of report that we do set up, typically managers would set up notification rule for, would be a daily and shift report. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So if you go over the daily and shift report, Now you can set up this rule in two ways. The first way would be if you want this report to go out on shift completion. By that, you want to receive the report at the end of the day when all the shifts have been completed. So you can leave it as send on shift. You can select do not send worked shift summary reports. That way, the reports don't go out at the end of the user's shift, but goes out at the end of the day. Now you're going to specify the time that you want this report to go out. So I don't want to receive it when each of the officers complete their shift. I would rather you want to receive this report when the entire day is over. So let me get this report 7 a.m. the following day. So I want this report sent out 7 a.m. the following day. And I can come over here, make sure it's on PDF attachment formats. And then this is also where you would come to select specific users that you want this report to go out to. And then remember to hit Save Settings on the bottom here. The other way to set up this rule would be to say, I don't want to send out this rule at a specific time. I want to receive it anytime that the officers clock out and complete their shift. So now I'm going to remove the time here and leave it blank and adjust this rule here to say send on shift completion. And then I'm going to hit Save Settings. So now each time an officer completes their shift, I will get a summary of their report. The other kind of report that managers typically utilize would be the panic button alert. The Vision device has a virtual panic button that officers can use when they are in great danger. So when they select that panic button, it would send a notification alert to set of users. This is where you come as a security manager to set up who should receive those kind of panic alerts. So you can set up this rule for users to get the alerts as an SMS, or you can set it up for the users to receive as an email. You can also set it up for the users to receive it both ways, as an SMS and as an email. So if you wanted to, I already have set of users set up at this site, but if I want to add more users, I can just go ahead and hit add more. And now it gives me the option here to put their name and then their email. If I wanted to add them also as an SMS to receive the alert as SMS, I will go ahead and hit add more and then adjust this option here and change it from send an email to send a SMS. I will put down their name and then I'll put down their cell numbers. I can easily remove any user that I no longer want to be included in the notification rule by clicking X against their name and then hit Save Notification Settings here. So those are typically the kind of notification rule that security managers utilize in Vision. So let's move over to settings. Here you're going to see checkpoints at your site. You can also create new checkpoints. So these are the list of active checkpoints at the site. And on a snapshot, it tells you the last time that the checkpoint was scanned. So in this instance, this particular checkpoint was scanned 3 days ago. And this one right here was scanned 2 hours ago. So you can create a new check. You can edit any checkpoint at any time by clicking edit, and it will allow you to adjust the checkpoint accordingly. Once you're done, hit save and it will update the checkpoint. If you wanted to create a new checkpoint, go ahead and hit create checkpoint here. And then you can go ahead and provide the checkpoint name. If you have any special instructions, you can go ahead and put it here. So let's say we want to set up a checkpoint in OG's office. And ensure the lights are turned off. So this is what we want to be displayed when officers get to this checkpoint on the device. And then of course, here is can be scanned by all. We want to leave it as all because we want this checkpoint to be able to be scanned by any post at a site located at. But if you wanted to specify this checkpoint or specifically add this checkpoint to a post, you can select that by clicking into the drop down to show you a list of the available posts at the site, then select which post you want the checkpoint to be assigned to. Located at, this is where you want to specify the location where OG's office is at within the site. So OG's office is, let's say, on the 5th floor. And here you say it's checkpoint monitoring options. If we want to make this checkpoint a part of a tour, we can leave it as checkpoint as part of tour. That means it will be used within the tour settings. Extra scan options, this is where you want to determine if you want to make the checkpoint have any extra questions so that officers could pay attention to that. So in this instance, I want always for the lights to be off. So I'm going to select the question here. So I'm going to say exception questions. I'm going to make this an exception to exception checkpoint, an exception checkpoint. So I want the light to always be turned off. And then I said, okay, if I want to select yes as an exception. And then the question here would be, was the light turned off? Sorry, I'm going to make this a no as an exception question. And then the question will be, was the light turned off? Because I want the light to always be turned off, and I want each time that the officers answer yes, for me to get a flag that this is not supposed to be the case. So now I will leave it this way. And then I would go over to the category where I want this report to be filed under, because now once officers answer no, an exception is generated, an exception report is generated, but I want to assign this report. I want to make sure this report is assigned to the right category. So I'm going to specify the category where I want this report to be filed under. I want this report to be part of the lighting on category. And then I do have the checkpoint type. I'm going to specify if I'm setting up the checkpoint using an NFC token or a barcode. We typically would recommend NFC token because it's more secure. And then you're going to, once you scan the setup, it will automatically populate the checkpoint ID for you. But because of the training, I'm going to put in a specific set of numbers here as checkpoint ID. I'm not making this a GPS scan, so I'm going to leave this option blank. But if you wanted to make this a GPS scan, you have to specify what is the acceptable radius that the officers need to be at for that area to be considered as checked. And here, because I'm not going to allow for manual scan, I want the officers to be physically at the location to scan the checkpoint. I'm going to leave it as no, and then I'm going to hit save. OG's office checkpoint has been created, and I can easily find that by going into the filter here and looking for OG's office. And that's the field. That's the checkpoint I just created. Right now, I can always edit it in the future and make it whatever I want it to be for the purpose of the future needs. And now let's go to tour routes. I'm going to show us how to create a tour. So let me create a tour for OG's office. All right. And I'm going to start by hitting create a tour route. And then I'm going to name this OG's office tour. And again, I want them to make sure that the lights are turned off and show the lights are turned off. I want this to be available for all the posts. And I want to schedule this in the evening when I've left the office. So I want this to be an evening tour. So I want it to be an evening and weekend tour. So I want it to be it starts 7 in the morning on Sunday. The next time I want it to be scanned, I want to scan at 3 in the evening. And then I want the next tour to be scanned at 11 p.m. So I want each shift to do it on weekends. So I'm going to do the same thing on Saturday and 11. Then on weekdays, I want this to be done only in the evening. So I want it to be done when I've left the office and I close at 5. So I want the tour to be done after I've closed. So check this on Monday every 8 p.m. On weekdays, I want it done every 8 p.m. All right. So if I wanted to estimate a tour duration, because this is a quick tour, it should not be more than 10 minutes. And then I want to set up a grace period so that it's not considered late it's only considered late only after this grace period is passed. So I want to give the officers, say, 5 minutes grace period. And then I'll hit save. And notice that OG's office store is created now, but there is 0 checkpoints. So I'm going to now do the next stage, which is assigning a checkpoint to the store that I've created. So I'm going to go to manage checkpoints. And then I'm going to look for the checkpoint that I created, OG's office. And I'm going to hit OK. If I click out of the tour routes just to refresh it a bit and come back to tour routes, notice that OG's office store has now 1 checkpoint. Now, if this tour is no longer required, I can go ahead and archive it. And to do that, I would have to go to Edit Settings, and then I'll make sure to remove this scheduled time. So I'll need to do a little cleaning. I will remove all of this. And then I can go ahead and hit change this from active to deactivated. And then I'll hit save. I'll turn this to 0 and hit save. All right, now OG's Office Store has been deactivated. It will no longer be available to these officers at the site to perform. And then you would have also here, you can create site locations. This is where you would come to create site locations as a security manager. This is where you would perform that action. So you can create a site location individually, or you can batch the information up together and import it. So if there are a lot of site locations you want to create at a site, you might want to use the import batch option by clicking in import, and then you're going to be able to paste that information here and then hit save, and it would import all of that data here. But if you wanted to create it individually, you'd have to follow this pattern here and type. The pattern, it's simple, if it's a public domain, if it's a secure zone, it could be um, public access area, depending on what it is. So let's say OG's office, right? We want to set up a location for OG's office, and OG's office is a secure zone. So I'm going to put it on the secure zone. So once you start to type secure zone, then I'll leave a space / OG's office space / or rather I would put, let's do it this way, which is the appropriate way, secure zone space / space OG's office is on the 5th floor space / OG's office. So the pattern is the zone, the description of the zone, if it's a secure zone or public domain or public access, the floor, and then the room name. So, and then you can go ahead and adjust this to select which specific type matches the location. So I will put it under the secure zone group, and then I would hit create. And that has been added to the list of the location, site locations at the site. Okay, that's the site. If I wanted to delete, I can just go ahead and hit delete, and just deleting the location, not with the dependents. So I hit save and it removes it. Okay. Emergency contacts. This is where you come to create emergency contacts for your officers at the site. So right now we have the contacts already entered in the site, and we want to select someone from the list to join the emergency contact. So we can easily click on choose one option here and then select the user we want to include. So in this instance, I want to include Steve Thomas. So I'm going to select Steve Thomas, and automatically it saves. And Steve Thomas has now been entered as an emergency contact, and our officers can see Steve Thomas information on the vision device as an emergency contact. The other feature that district managers typically would use would be the message board. If you tap, but first, before we go to the message board, let's look at geofencing, which is another great feature that DMs rely on occasionally. So the geofencing, this is a virtual wall that you can create just to better manage your site, and that can give us a use case scenario. So let's say, for instance, at the site, we have a construction going on and we don't want our officers to go in the construction area because they're not properly trained and they don't have the right PPE. So we can create a virtual wall. And this is relying on the GPS location for the site. So now we will start by, we want to make this a restricted area. We don't want our officers to go there. So we're going to first of all select the option restricted here. And then we can draw up the virtual wall by clicking this icon here, which says draw a shape. And then we're going to highlight the area where we want, where the construction is going on. Let's say the construction is going on around the parking lot here, and we want to draw make this place a restricted zone. Okay. So now we're calling this place construction site. And we hit save. So now each time that the officers go in here, the system flags it. Here is where we come to set up a notification rule so that each time this is flagged, you want to get notified. You can come here and select this option, use the forward, and create custom notification rule. And OG Agochukwu Ephraim, and I want to be notified via email. This is my email. And then I'm here, I will hit save notification settings. So each time an officer goes into this area, OG would get notified via his email. All right. Now let's see that the construction is done with and this place has become accessible again for our officers to go in. I can come over here under the edit and select the option to delete and hit save, and it removes that geofencing. So just wanted to point that out. It's a great tool. All right, let's go to message board. So here, as a security manager, you can create message that you can distribute to the site users. So if you wanted to do that, you can come over here and click post message. You do have the message category here. If you click into it, it will show you a list of different kinds of messages, which would be determined by the use case. So if you wanted to send a be on the lookout, you want to select a be on the lookout category, and then you can go ahead and put the message here in the message box. By default, the system would send this message to all the users at the site. So everyone that has access to the site would be able to see this message once they log into the system. But if you want to restrict this message to specific users, you can do that by clicking into available and then now start to type the names of the officers at the site. So let me begin with my own account, demo account user, James Smith. So I just want this information to go to only James Smith. And I want this information to go out at the date that I want to specify. So I can go ahead and say, okay, I want this message to be sent out on Monday. And then I want this message to be archived after a week. So I would want it to be removed exactly on the 6th of July. And if I wanted to, I would leave this as actual so that it can be sent as an actual message. If I wanted to attach a picture to the be on the lookout, I can go ahead and click here and it will take me into my device, and then I can attach any picture or photo on my device to it. The same thing too with attachment. I want to attach a document, maybe a court document or a communique that was uh, reached, and then I could go ahead and hit attach. And then once I have all of that added, I can go ahead and hit save, and that message is saved. Over here are the messages that are already at the site. I can view it. I can click into one of them and view the message information. Here I can see if I hover over read, I'm going to see which officer has read and acknowledged the message. So right here I can see that Ashley Gomez has read and acknowledged this message and did so at this time and this day. All right. So you do have some filter buttons here you can use, to show current messages, current and future messages, or expired messages. Over here, you can also show active messages, unacknowledged messages only, acknowledged messages only, acknowledged and archived messages, or all messages including archived ones. So you can use this filter buttons just to make your searches easy. The other feature that security managers use a lot in Vision is site tasks. So I'm going to discuss site tasks with us. So site task is just a to-do list where as a security manager, you can set up a to-do list for your officers just to help them navigate through their shift, knowing what to do and when to do what to do. So here on this area, you can create a site task. So by selecting create site task button here, and then you're going to provide the task type. So let's say we want to inspect CCTV cameras, and then we can put a description here, inspect site security cameras. Be as detailed as possible in your instructions. So you want them to go around the site and check for any defects on the security cameras. You want them to log any defects with the security camera, and you want them to escalate to the security systems specialist. Right? And you want to specify which posts that has this task. So you want this to be performed by maybe lead or site supervisors, and you want to include this inspection, this task to a tour. So you want it to be performed whenever they are performing their facility tour. Want them to perform a facility tour as well as the inspection of the CCTV. Rather. Now, if you want them to, since you want them to log this defects, so we're going to attach an activity log entry form here for them. And then we're going to go over to schedule. So this is basically to provide some kind of cadence when you want this to be performed. So if you click into the drop down, you can make this a one-time task. You can also make this a recurring task, or you can make it an ad hoc task. So we want to make this a recurring task for our site leads. And you want this to begin, of course, every site task would have to, when you're setting up a site task, you have to select the future date. So we want this to start from Monday, June 29th. And we want it to run throughout the year until December 31st. All right. And this is a typically 60 minutes duration, and the frequencies. Again, how often do you want this to be done? You know, the cadence. Is it weekly? Is it bi-weekly? Is it monthly, or is it annually? So we want this to be done weekly. And next is where you specify days within the week that you want this to be performed. So we want this to be done on Mondays by the morning shift. We want this to be done on Mondays by the morning shift. Then we want it to be done on Tuesday. Pardon me. On Tuesday by the afternoon shift, which starts at 3. So I want it to be done in the afternoon by the afternoon shift. So I'm going to select 1500 00 to 1600. Then we want it to be done again on Wednesday by the overnight shift. So we want it to be done by the overnight shift, which starts at which around 1 a.m. to 2 a.m. Right? And that's it. We hit save. And so that site task has been created here, and it would be done for the period that I've selected for them to do. Now, if I wanted to end that service, maybe it's no longer required, I just have to find the task and then end it. So let's adjust our data accordingly. Says in CCTV camera That's it. So that's the task. I'm going to view the task. I'm going to hit this button here that allows me to edit it. View schedule, hit edit. View schedule. Good. So now I can edit this task at any time. I can go to details and edit the details. I can also edit the cadence, the time, the instances when I want this to be done, and adjust it as needed. All right. So these are basically the features in Vision that managers rely on, and support our managers on their day-to-day operations. So um, if you do have any questions, feel free to reach out to your support team, and we will be glad to respond to any of those questions. Thank you for being part of this training, and have a wonderful rest of your day.